Have you ever found yourself longing for the quiet comfort of solitude, especially as you age? In a world that often values busyness and social gatherings, it's easy to overlook the peace that comes from embracing your own company. Today, we're diving deep into the beauty of solitude and how it transforms our lives. As we grow older, our priorities naturally shift. What once felt vital, like parties and large gatherings, can start to feel overwhelming. This video will explore how we can appreciate the tranquility of our own homes, find joy in simple moments, and navigate social dynamics with grace and awareness. By the end of our discussion, you'll gain valuable insights into respecting your boundaries and those of others, ultimately enhancing your relationships and enriching your life. So stay tuned as we uncover the wisdom of solitude and the lessons it offers for a fulfilling life at any age. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Mr. Chan, for example, is an individual who has come to understand the intricacies of social interactions quite well. In the past, he reveled in the excitement of large gatherings, thriving amidst the energy of crowds. However, as time has gone on, he has gradually started to shy away from such overwhelming environments. Instead of enjoying the bustling atmosphere of parties and events, he now finds greater comfort in more intimate settings, choosing to meet his friends in cozy cafes or inviting them to share a meal at a quiet restaurant. This preference change reflects a significant realization he has come to embrace. His time and peace of mind are incredibly valuable. You might hear comments from relatives or acquaintances who are surprised by this shift in behavior, remarks like, "Wow, you've become so distant. You used to be so lively and full of energy." However, it's essential to not let such comments weigh you down. Those who truly know and care about you will understand that your desire for solitude or smaller gatherings is not a sign of withdrawal but rather an important step in prioritizing your well-being. You are simply seeking out what is best for you, what brings you a sense of tranquility and happiness. Solitude, this time spent with oneself, is a precious gift that we often overlook in our busy lives. When we take the time to embrace it, we open ourselves up to profound transformations. Solitude provides us with the opportunity to think deeply and to reflect on our experiences, our knowledge, and our joys. This introspective time fosters genuine energy and rejuvenation, enabling us to reconnect with ourselves. Ultimately, growing up entails cultivating the ability to make choices that foster our happiness while also respecting social boundaries, particularly when it comes to frequent visits and interactions. It's natural to feel apprehensive about the thought of visiting someone, reconnecting with an old friend, or spending time with family. After all, who doesn't appreciate the warmth and joy that good company can bring? Yet, sometimes, without even realizing it, we can inadvertently overstep certain boundaries. Even when we approach these situations with the best of intentions, such as wanting to reconnect or offer support, our well-meaning gestures can sometimes lead to discomfort for those on the receiving end. Allow me to share a story that might prompt some reflection. Mr. Wong is a remarkably friendly individual who has always cherished the company of friends. Recently, he reconnected with an old schoolmate, and they quickly began to see each other frequently. In his enthusiasm to revive their friendship, Mr. Wong started visiting his friend almost every weekend. Initially, everything felt perfect. He relished the sense of belonging and comfort that came from spending time with an old friend. However, as weeks passed, the dynamic began to shift subtly. The warm smile that Mr. Wong had come to associate with his friend's wife began to seem slightly forced, almost strained. The children, who had once played joyfully, started retreating to their rooms more often, seemingly seeking refuge from the ongoing visits. Then came the delicate moment that would change Mr. Wong's perspective. One day, with great caution and kindness, his friend initiated an honest conversation. He gently explained that while they genuinely enjoyed Mr. Wong's company, the frequency of his visits had begun to impact the family dynamics in unintended ways. Imagine Mr. Wong's shock as he absorbed this revelation. He had never considered that his well-meaning visits could be overwhelming for his friend and their family. To him, these visits were merely gestures of friendship, expressions of a desire to remain present in their lives. That day, however, he learned a profoundly valuable lesson. Hospitality does not equate to an open invitation to drop by unannounced or too often. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, Please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. This story invites us to reflect on a crucial aspect of social interactions. Even when we feel comfortable with someone, it's vital to recognize the subtle signs that indicate a need for space, those nuanced hints that might not be immediately obvious. For instance, a less than sincere smile or a noticeable change in mood can signal that it might be time to step back a bit. It's essential to remember that this isn't a matter of whether the people involved are kind or good-hearted. Rather, everyone has their limits, routines, and personal space. Respecting these boundaries is crucial for nurturing healthy relationships and preventing feelings of discomfort. So, the next time you decide to visit someone, pay close attention to their demeanor. Notice whether the conversation flows easily or if it seems punctuated by awkward silences. Don't hesitate to inquire if they are comfortable with your presence. Being attentive to and respecting boundaries not only strengthens relationships but also demonstrates that you care about the well-being of others just as much as you do your own. After all, the most important aspect of our social interactions is ensuring they are harmonious and respectful. By cultivating relationships rooted in mutual understanding, we can foster friendships that bring joy and fulfillment rather than discomfort or unease. Now, I want to take a moment to delve into a topic that resonates with each of us at some point in our lives: the misunderstandings that frequently arise in social interactions. It's a common occurrence, isn't it? Sometimes, amid a lively conversation, we might say something without giving it much thought. But then, as we reflect on our words, we realize that they have taken on a life of their own, spiraling into something we never intended. Have you ever experienced this? Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this phenomenon. This story centers around Mrs. Lee, a wonderfully kind and cheerful woman who always radiated positivity. She had a knack for engaging with her neighbors, often chatting and sharing ideas and stories. It was one of those sunny afternoons when she found herself in the midst of one of her favorite pastimes, conversing with her neighbors. During one of these friendly exchanges, Mrs. Lee made an innocent remark about her daughter-in-law. To her, it was just a light-hearted observation that carried no significant weight. However, as fate would have it, her seemingly harmless comment eventually reached her daughter-in-law's ears. Unfortunately, it was interpreted in a way that was far from what Mrs. Lee had intended. The outcome was a substantial misunderstanding. The daughter-in-law, feeling hurt and offended, believed that her mother-in-law had been speaking poorly about her behind her back. This miscommunication led to a rift in their relationship, straining the bond that had once been strong and harmonious. This incident prompted Mrs. Lee to engage in some deep reflection. She came to understand that even when our words are spoken without any malicious intent, they can easily be misconstrued and perceived differently by those who were not privy to the original context of the conversation. Such misunderstandings, no matter how commonplace they may seem, can have dire consequences, often ruining cherished relationships with loved ones. Now, I invite you to ponder for a moment how many times you or someone you know has found themselves in a similar situation. We often find ourselves saying something without the intention of offending, only to realize that our words have led to unintended consequences. It happens all too frequently, especially among groups of friends, family members, or even in casual exchanges with neighbors. So, how can we navigate these tricky waters and avoid such misunderstandings? The first lesson Mrs. Lee learned, and one that we should all take to heart, is to be mindful of our words. No matter how comfortable we may feel in a conversation, it's always wise to pause and think before we speak. Often, what appears harmless to us can be interpreted in vastly different ways by others. Furthermore, it's essential to steer clear of gossip. There's a well-known saying about gossip: it behaves like fire. It can start small and seemingly innocent but can quickly escalate into a raging blaze that consumes everything in its path. We may make comments about something trivial, but the fallout can be far more significant than we ever anticipated. The most unfortunate part is that these misunderstandings can tarnish relationships that have taken years to cultivate. The second vital point to consider is the importance of maintaining a positive tone in conversations. Instead of dwelling on the shortcomings or perceived flaws of others, why not take the opportunity to highlight their strengths? If you feel compelled to comment on something, let it be in a way that uplifts and encourages the other person. Our words possess immense power. They can either construct bridges that bring us closer together or demolish walls that separate us, depending on how we choose to wield them. Additionally, understanding the context of a conversation is crucial. What might be appropriate to say in one scenario could be wholly inappropriate in another. The tone of voice we use can also significantly alter the meaning of our words. The same phrase, when delivered with a lighter touch or a different intonation, can evoke opposite interpretations. Therefore, being attuned to how we express our thoughts is a fundamental step in sidestepping misunderstandings. Of course, when misunderstandings do arise, and they inevitably will, the best course of action is to address the issues directly and promptly. Leaving problems unresolved will only serve to escalate tensions and create space for even greater confusion. If you sense that something has been misinterpreted, don't hesitate to reach out to the person and clarify your intentions. An honest face-to-face conversation can be the lifeline that saves a friendship or mends a family bond. Mrs. Lee learned this lesson through her own difficult experience, and from it, she gleaned a vital insight. It's always better to approach conversations with a sense of restraint and caution, especially when discussing the lives and choices of others. From that point forward, she began to practice greater mindfulness before speaking, consciously avoiding topics that could be easily misinterpreted or cause discomfort. Now, if you would indulge me for a moment, I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. There may be times, perhaps unwittingly, when we say something that can be misunderstood. What can we do to ensure that our words do not negatively impact those we care about? Once spoken, our words cannot be taken back. They linger in the air like autumn leaves caught in the breeze, impossible to retrieve. That's why it's paramount to communicate with kindness and wisdom, especially as we navigate the later stages of our lives, where the relationships we build over the years become incredibly precious and deserve to be protected from the pitfalls of misunderstanding. Let's delve deeper into a topic that many of us have surely experienced or observed in our lives: the disparities in economic status and the tensions they can create in social interactions. This is a phenomenon that is not only prevalent but also one that we may not always be consciously aware of as it unfolds in our daily lives. To illustrate this, let me share a story that might resonate with you. Imagine Mr. Carlos, an earnest and humble man who has always dedicated himself to hard work to provide for his family. Throughout his life, he has prioritized the simple joys and the tranquility that come with a modest existence. He never placed much importance on material possessions or the latest trends. His contentment stemmed from the love of his family and the peace of his surroundings. However, during family gatherings or reunions with old friends, he began to notice a subtle but undeniable shift in the atmosphere. Conversations frequently revolved around lavish vacations, exquisite dining experiences at gourmet restaurants, and the allure of brand-new cars. These discussions highlighted a stark contrast to his lifestyle and, as a result, Mr. Carlos started to feel increasingly alienated and out of place. This realization brought Mr. Carlos an unexpected sense of discomfort. Although he had never been preoccupied with the notion of owning the finest things, the conversations at these gatherings seemed to emphasize what he lacked. It created a profound internal tension for him, as no one enjoys feeling inferior or less valued due to financial disparities, right? Often, these economic differences can create an invisible barrier between individuals. Even without intending to, people find themselves making comparisons, which can inadvertently strain relationships. For instance, when someone extends an invitation to dine at an upscale restaurant or embark on an extravagant trip, and another person is unable to join due to financial constraints, it creates an uncomfortable dynamic. The individual who cannot participate may feel uneasy, while the inviter often remains blissfully unaware of the emotional weight such situations can carry. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. However, in time, Mr. Carlos discovered a profound truth. The best way to navigate these awkward scenarios was to concentrate on what truly mattered to him: his inner peace and personal development. He began to cherish the little moments in life that brought him joy, such as tending to his garden, immersing himself in a good book, or taking leisurely walks with his dog. Most importantly, he realized that each person is on their unique journey and that there is no need for comparison. This understanding is crucial for all of us. Over time, we learn that life is not a competitive race. What truly counts is how we feel about ourselves and our own experiences. When we cultivate a sense of contentment within, the weight of economic differences becomes significantly less burdensome. Maintaining a positive outlook may seem straightforward, yet this mindset can dramatically transform how we confront challenges and appreciate life. Have you ever noticed the powerful impact our thoughts can have on our overall well-being? When we embrace positivity, we often feel lighter and more energetic, and even experience improvements in our physical health. This isn't merely anecdotal. Scientific studies support the notion that positive thinking can enhance our physical and emotional well-being. This principle becomes even more significant as we age. Consider, for example, Donna Maria, a vibrant 70-year-old woman who has always been active and fiercely independent. However, as the years rolled on, she began to encounter the inevitable physical limitations that accompany aging. She started experiencing back pain and found it increasingly difficult to walk long distances. Rather than succumbing to frustration over these changes, she chose to adopt a positive perspective. Admittedly, this transition wasn't without its challenges. There were days when she felt disheartened, yearning for the days when she could move with ease and without hesitation. Yet, instead of fixating on her limitations, Donna Maria made a conscious decision to redirect her focus. She began to appreciate the joys still available to her, the invigorating freshness of the morning air, the benefits of gentle stretching exercises, the importance of a balanced diet, and, most importantly, the gratitude she felt for each new day. This shift in mentality proved to be transformative. Donna Maria found that by maintaining a positive attitude, the burden of her physical limitations felt lighter, and she began to celebrate the small victories that each day brought. She discovered that facing life's challenges became easier when she adopted this optimistic approach. The obstacles seemed less daunting, and the discomfort less pronounced. The truth is, like Donna Maria, we all face various challenges throughout our lives. As we age, these challenges may appear more significant, yet our response to them is what truly matters. If our minds become filled with negativity, complaints, and frustrations about our difficulties, every problem can feel magnified. Conversely, if we actively cultivate a mindset of positivity, we start to perceive our situations in a different light. Have you ever observed how your mental state can impact your physical health? When we experience anxiety, sadness, or stress, our bodies often react with fatigue and even illness. In contrast, when we nurture an optimistic outlook, our physical well-being can respond positively as well. Research indicates that individuals who embrace a lighter, more hopeful perspective on life are more likely to enjoy longer, healthier lives. In summary, the journey towards self-acceptance and personal growth, much like that of Mr. Carlos and Donna Maria, reminds us that our inner world holds the key to overcoming the tensions brought about by economic differences. By focusing on gratitude, personal achievements, and maintaining a positive mindset, we can enhance not only our relationships but also our overall quality of life. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to take a moment to reflect on the important insights we've shared. Solitude can be a source of peace and clarity as we age, teaching us to value quality over quantity in our relationships. We've explored the significance of recognizing social boundaries, the impact of our words, and the importance of embracing a positive mindset. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from our conversation today? Please take a moment to share one key takeaway that you plan to practice in your life moving forward. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave your comment below. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.